Now deal with the crux of today's discourse, the importance of maritime sector in socio-economic and development of any nation is very critical. According to figures from the World Trade Organization, seaports currently represent one of the most important logistics centers due to the fact that more than 80% of worldwide freight is transported using this method. Therefore, if maritime sector is well harnessed and the ports are efficient, it will remain crucial to non-oil revenue generation and also the most cardinal factor for growth and economic development in the country. A review of the situation at the Nigerian port indicates that the state of many of the infrastructure, particularly the roads, are in a state of despair. This huge problem is currently having tremendous negative impact on the operational performance and also efficiency at the ports. Furthermore, government and port users, especially business owners, continue to lose revenue to these port inefficiencies. Joining me now to discuss this development and much more, I have Ernest Elochukwu, a member of the Board of Trustees of the Association of Nigerian Licensed Customs Agents. Good to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much.
Let's now start with an overview from your perspective, performance of the ports vis-a-vis customs reforms, and also looking at conversations around port concessioning and other developments that we've had within the sector in recent past.
Well, I would want to say that the custom reforms to some extent have been successful in the sense that the customs now have a kind of standard and procedures that have been improved upon. And we can say, yes, on that score that the customs reforms is progressing. On the other hand, the port reforms, which is the totality of the port performance, has not been too exciting, considering the fact that all that has been done in the ports, including the concessioning, was to improve on efficiency. And one cannot say that that efficiency is already achieved because it takes as much as 2 weeks to 3 weeks to get a cargo cleared out of the port ordinarily. And we can't say that it has gotten anywhere near the expected target of 48 hours delivery that was envisaged at the start of this. So for me, the port reforms haven't been too wonderful.
So talking about as well the management of traffic gridlock along the axis of our port corridor, we've had issues around the truck call-up system as well. How would you say we are faring in that regard as we also assess the level of performance of our ports?
Yes, well, this is one aspect that is actually sad commentary on how our system operates in this country. For instance, the ports, most of the ports, especially the old ports, Papa, Tinkan, and later Tinkan, we are done without the improvement of volume in mind. It's also like we were using the yardstick of the 60s, 1960s, that is, to now operate in another century altogether. And that's why we're having this same problem of the traffic gridlock and all that is being done to ameliorate. But then I would think that it's also about expansion. And then there are issues also involved in that because you can't expand some of the road facilities now unless you're going to put down a whole lot of buildings around that place. So it's probably needs a total reworking or looking at it from the government perspective. What do they want to do about the ports there, especially the access road? Because that is actually where the problem concentrated. The problems are there.
And I was part of conversations towards the development of an improved sector in terms of ports and customs relations. Let's look at appraisal of the performance of customs under the leadership of Colonel Hamid Ali, retired. How would you say this is also helping with the success rate of interventions we've had in the sector?
Yes, I would think that because when Colonel Ali retired, was appointed in 2015. I guess that the president and commander-in-chief who appointed him had given him certain targets. And for him to be reappointed means he has met the target to the extent of what's his mandate. In fairness, when he came on board, some of us were not so comfortable because not being a career custom officer, we were afraid that valuable time may be used and wasted in his trying to understand the system, especially coming as it is from outside the system. And again, those who are outside the system always view the customs with a lot of suspicion and all that. But I must say that some of our fears have not been realized, thankfully, because he had actually also done the job to the extent that maybe the parameters that are being used to judge him in terms of revenue targets or revenue realization has been quite high, has been going steadily high. And I think to that extent, he has done well.
We're already in the second half of the year and looking at problems and prospects, forecasts for the economic regulator for the ports, that's the Nigeria Shippers Council. What sort of interface do you think is going to play out in the rest of the half of this year? How do you think we're going to see the leadership also drive conversation, the interface between the agencies as well, to ensure that we have improved port efficiency?
Well, if you look at the role of the Nigeria Shippers Council, which I think in recent past, it has been commendable to the extent that that regulatory duty need to be there. But again, we look at also what has been the fallout. We have seen the situation where the other agencies appear not to be collaborating or cooperating with the Shippers Council in the issue of that regulatory rule, in the sense that a lot of people are talking about what is the establishing the enabling laws and all that. But we have a situation where a lot of things don't get done the way they should be done. For instance, recently there was the issue of sealing up of one terminal because of overcharges. And the commentators were talking about what laws that gave the Shippers Council the right to go and seal a facility. But then they forgot that there is the issue of impunity that is going on in our land. Unfortunately, some of us don't want to admit it, that a lot of people take laws into their hand because they think the enforcement system is very weak. They could do a whole lot of things because the the concession agreement has been clear about certain things, including charges and all that. But over the years, the concessionaires have been doing whatever they like, and because they knew that the system is very weak at certain enforcement. So for me, I think that the matter should be to actually equip the Nigeria Shippers Council more, give it more powers, even when there are no, because they have been made the economic regulator in the port. They should be given that cooperation, even from sister agencies. Those who are heading those agencies should, as a matter of urgency, direct their operatives and their staff to give Shippers Council the cooperation that it needs to carry out this function.
Let's look at the role of associations in engendering efficiency at the ports. Definitely, we also have to look at conversations within this line. It's quite important to form formidable forces.
Yes, this is very interesting because ordinarily, the association or the associations, as we may like to call them, should be the channel for feedback to the system. For instance, to know how the system is working, is supposed to be the association. However, we have a very peculiar situation in our country where associations kind of splinter, multiple associations in one industry. For instance, when we look at the freight forwarding or the cargo clearing industry, you start wondering why would we have about, maybe I know, but if a count is taken down, there may be up to 10 different associations. Because they are different, what comes out from them are necessarily different. And some of them, to gain their relevance, have to oppose whatever the other ones have said. And then, it now creates the opportunity for divide and rule as far as the agencies or the organizations involved are concerned. So in that aspect, that critical role that the association should be playing as a feedback, as a way of letting the authorities know how their members are faring, is no longer there because of what? Multiple associations.
So, in terms of cargo clearance, now the future of cargo clearance in Nigeria, the role of automation, your thoughts as we're wrapping up for the rest of the year?
Well, I can say something that there's not much that has improved over the years. And the situation again was because we have seen a situation where the Central Bank of Nigeria, for instance, have now assumed the role of being the fiscal policy regulator, just for the sake that it allocates forex, it opens or approves from M, and so there and then it has started, so to say, banning the importation of certain items. Well, it has never happened before, but we know that many of these instrument ban has been the problem of cargo clearance in Nigeria, because the ban done, for instance, that the central bank has said that 47 items that they couldn't allocate forex on it. And they stopped opening on them. Whereas there are people that have resources abroad, for instance, that they could bring those things in. So what they're doing actually is that a whole lot of actions are taken that impedes this smooth flow of cargo clearance in Nigeria. And like this action of the central bank is one major one, because whenever there are things that are essential, that are banned, common sense have always said that those things have a way of coming into the country.
Let's wrap up our conversation now, finally, within the area of compliance and then benchmarks that are necessary, quite critical to ensuring that we have improved performance in terms of the relationship we have between customs and also the maritime sector in general, in terms of boosting port efficiency.
The accusation or the level of compliance is very low with the importers and licensed custom agents has been part of the excuse for the customs for a lot of things that they do. But I just need to tell you this, that it is funny that up to today that no licensed custom agent will tell you that he knows what the benchmark of values used by the customs are. And we are supposed to be working with the customs. There are certain things that should be at our own disposal too. For instance, when you know what the benchmark is, you advise your client to get at least as close as possible to the benchmark. But most of the time, we don't know what the benchmark is in terms of values, in terms of whatever it is for the rating of goods. Formerly, we used to even know what it is that should be the benchmark in the importation of used car. We don't even know them now. So I'm trying to say that when we're talking about compliance, we should be talking about it in totality, in the sense that there shouldn't be any laws that will be impeding compliance or practice. For instance, whereby there are things that are known to people that are not known to others. And then how can those things are not known to, how can they comply?
Thank you very much for your time on the show today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Ernest Elochukwu.
Thank you. God bless.